What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be playing with new makeup, some exciting makeup releases. For example, I have a foundation, I have a liquid bronzer serum, I have a balm blush stick, a new shade of a Dior blush with a beautiful glowy finish. Let's get started. Let's start with the Urban Decay Face Bond Foundation. I have it in the shade 10 Light Neutral. I am excited about this because it's supposed to give you medium coverage and it's self-setting, which means that we can skip the step of setting our foundation with powder. Okay, this is a pretty good shade. According to the product page, it's good for dark spots. I don't know if that means that it's good because it contains some skincare ingredients or if it's good because it conceals them. But what I want to see is how much coverage it gives me on my dark spots. We're supposed to be getting a natural matte finish. So what does a natural matte finish mean? I guess that it just looks less matte. It's matte, but not full-blown matte. It's an excellent explanation. Wow, I'm really happy with, check out the coverage. It's giving me a lot of coverage, almost full coverage, I would say. I really like the little bottle that it comes in. Isn't it pretty with this clear purple nozzle? I'm liking this better than a pump. Look how clean it is. There's no mess. Whoops, I think I put on way too much. Cleaning off my brush. Okay, I put on way too much. So I'm getting my damp sponge and getting that excess off. Because this foundation is self-setting, it is drying very fast. So instead of putting the foundation all over your face before blending it, do it one section at a time. I think if you do half the face, blend it, and then the other half of the face, you'll be just fine. I am seeing some white dots. That is not the foundation. That is some adhesive residue from the nose strips that I sleep with every night. So essentially you stick them on, they open up your nostrils so you can breathe better. I thought I had removed all of the glue, but apparently I didn't. So that's what we're seeing that looks funky right here. Now the Makeup by Mario liquid bronzing serum that I just had to run out and get because I love his skin enhancer, his bronzer balm. And now I'm assuming this is gonna be just as nice, but in a liquid form. It's a pump bottle, but it also has a doe foot applicator. So that's nice. If we feel like using the doe foot, instead of pumping it onto the back of our hands and getting our hands dirty, we can just use the doe foot. That's personal preference. Let's see. Yeah, this looks like it's gonna be very sheer. I'm using a brush that is similar to the one he uses in his promo clips. This is the foundation brush number 47 from Sephora collection. So I am seeing a really pretty tone here. It's not too orange, it's not too yellow, it's just right. Let's apply a little bit more. This time I'll also put it here under the jawline, a bit more on the forehead. I got some more. It also doesn't seem to be smudging the foundation underneath, which is another plus for this type of self-setting foundation that dries up really quickly. It claims to be smudge resistant. I like that because when it comes time to adding your bronzer and your blush, you're not gonna have to be as worried that you'll be disturbing the foundation underneath those products. Okay, yes, loving the tone. It blends super easily. When it comes to the finish, it's not giving me a glowy finish. It's not matte either. It just looks like a natural, like a soft satin finish. This is the before and this is the after. Now let me do the other side of the face and I'll be right back. For blush, we're gonna use this one from Haus Labs. It's a balm in stick form and it's supposed to have a glassy finish, and it does. It looks glossy and very pigmented. The best way to apply this blush would be to work the brush here in the back of your hand. But let's take this opportunity and see if the foundation truly is smudge resistant. Is it going to get lifted with this stick? Yeah, we see that there's some foundation here on the top of the stick, but is it that the foundation, or is it that this product is extremely balmy? I don't know. Let's try it on and see what this looks like. This is in the shade Glassy Tangelo. Haus Labs came out with 8 shades, which I swatched. I did a short. I'll link it somewhere at the end of this video. I see that it's pigmented. It does have a glow. Let's see, is it tacky? Yes, it is tacky. I mean, well, you can see my hair that's sticking to my cheek already. So this is ideal for those days when your hair is gonna be sleeked back. Let me just take the brush I used for my foundation and go over the edges to soften them up. This is what it looks like. I want to see if I can get the finish to be shinier, just like we see it here in my hand. So I'm gonna use my fingers to apply. And yes, this is giving us a more glossy finish. But if we want that glossy finish, then we have to put it on with, you know, with the fingers, which means that it's gonna look even more pigmented. And is that what you want? This is too much color for my taste. I'm gonna take the brush again and go over the edges. All right, so that's what this looks like. Now on the other side, I'm gonna use a different blush, Poppy Coral from Dior. Dior came out with a shade extension for their blushes. So we have 3 new shades, lilac one, glowy bronze, and this one called Poppy Coral. Let's see. I'm trying to build it up so it's of a similar intensity to this one, but in reality, this is not the intensity that I want to go for on an everyday basis. This level of pigmentation is more my style, but I want to build it up to be of a similar intensity to this one, just so that we can see the shades side by side and whether or not they look different. Maybe you like one more than the other. Somehow I managed to get this blush all the way down almost to my jaw, so I'm taking some foundation to lighten this area up. And here we have the 2 different finish. This one is a balm. It is tackier, very pigmented. It gives you color right away. This powder blush gives you a good amount of pigment, not as much as this one from the get-go, but you just have to build it up, and I think it looks really nice. It also has a subtle glowy finish. Now let's remove the balm and see if it leaves a stain. Yes, so it leaves just a subtle stain on the skin. Barely noticeable though. I was just looking at my smile lines, and I am thrilled to report that the foundation has not settled in there at all. Now that is very impressive. Let's hope it continues like that throughout the day. Now this blush is not only for your cheeks, but also for your lips. And I am gonna try it on, although reluctantly, because I'm not in love with this color. Here we go. Okay, application is fussy because you don't have good control because of the size of the applicator. So you have to just you saw me putting just like 2 dots and then with your finger, spread it around, trying to cover all of the edges of your lips, which is tough to do with your finger. And most of us are not gonna whip out a brush to do it, to do some nice detailed work. Okay, I don't like it, but maybe if it's softer. Let's remove some of it. Okay, that's looking better. Yeah, that's looking better. That's looking a lot better. Is it comfortable? Yes, my lips are already hydrated. I don't know how much moisture this will give your lips. It doesn't feel nourishing. If your lips are dry to begin with, this is not gonna do them any favors. But because the application is a pain in the butt on the lips, I don't see myself using it on the lips. You know how I added extra foundation here? Well, now I am seeing that it's settling into all of these lines. I'm gonna do a close-up. But that very well could be because I packed on layer upon layer of foundation. So I'm not gonna fault the foundation just yet. I'm gonna take my brush and go over it, or maybe the sponge. I'm gonna take the sponge and go over it with the sponge to hopefully remove some of that product. Next and final step, I was going to add just a very light touch of setting powder. This is the powder foundation from Natasha Denona that I've been testing lately. But you know what? I changed my mind because I want to see how this self-setting foundation performs. Let's not add any other products on top and let's see how it does. So I will see you soon in a few hours. We are 6 hours in. Let's talk about what this makeup is looking like because I'm going to bed right after this. The foundation is pretty nice, but it's not perfect. It is starting to look heavy around these areas. It is settling into my smile lines. Remember that I added more product here. Well, it's still kind of settling into some lines that are not even detectable when I'm not wearing makeup. But this foundation is emphasizing them, and I think that's because I packed on more than one layer of the foundation. So next time I wear it, I think I'm just gonna leave it at one layer, which is more than enough to give you some really nice coverage when it comes to any dark spots. You won't get a full coverage, but it's a really nice medium-high coverage. If you have dry skin, you're probably wondering whether you can pull this foundation off. My skin is normal to dry, so I am leaning dry, not extremely dry, but I am leaning dry, and it feels fine. So I'm really excited about this foundation. I'm gonna keep testing it. And for now, it's totally going into the rotation with the other two foundations that I use to cover up my spots on my cheeks. And those two foundations are these. The Makeup by Mario bronzer, I really do like it. It gives you such a natural looking bronze, and the undertone is fantastic. I can still see it, especially here in my forehead. It is so sheer that it would be hard to tell whether it has worn off, but at least on my forehead, it is definitely still there. So I'm really liking the serum. Now, when it comes to the blushes, color-wise, they look almost identical. I was expecting the Haus Labs Glassy Balm blush to be a lot more dewy in finish. I am unsure which side has this blush. Yes, it was, no. Okay, I have to check. You see, I have to check the footage. It really should be very obvious to me which is which. This is a powder with a little bit of glow, but this one is supposed to give you a really glossy, dewy finish. And I just don't see it. I'm assuming that this one is on this side. I don't know. I know how I'll be able to tell. Let me, tackiness. This one is tacky. Okay, so this cheek is this one. It's just a slight soft tacky feeling. It's very, very minimal, almost nothing. But in comparison to this one has zero tackiness. So the powder has to be on this cheek. So if you're purchasing this blush balm because of that finish, I think the only way that you will get this finish is if you put a lot of it on. And because it's so pigmented, if you have a light medium skin tone or fairer, then I suggest you stick with the lighter shades. If you're very fair, try Pomelo. This one hardly shows up on me. If you have a light skin tone, so a step up, a little bit darker than fair, Lilac and Hibiscus are probably for you. If you're a light medium like me, Rosette is nice. And if you want a lot of color, then you have watermelon, acai, pitaya. No, this is hibiscus, not this one. These four with Tangelo, these are very pigmented and are gonna look beautiful on deeper skin tones. For me, like I said, this is not really the level of pigmentation that I like. But anyway, what I was trying to say was if you want that glossy finish, put it on directly from the stick or with your fingers and lightly blend it out. The more you blend it out, the less glossy the finish will be. Let me know what you think of these products and I'll see you soon. Bye.